Unit 4, Lesson 2. So in the beginning of this lesson, we're going to connect, again, congruence to rigid motions. So in our previous unit, Unit 3, rigid motions, we defined congruence to be that there exists a rigid motion or a sequence of rigid motions that maps one figure onto another. Right, so think, is it possible to know whether there is a rigid motion that takes one triangle to another without actually showing that particular rigid motion? And more importantly, what might we need to show or prove in order to demonstrate congruence? So we have these two pairs of triangles below. Right, let's identify corresponding angles here. So we have 49 degrees here and 49 degrees here. So angle B corresponds to angle M. We have angle A is 72 and angle P is 72, so angle A corresponds to angle P. And we have that angle C is 59 and angle N is 59, so angle N corresponds to angle C. Let's do the same thing for the corresponding side. So we have 5 centimeters here and 5 centimeters here. So BC corresponds to MN. We have 3 centimeters and 3 centimeters, so AC corresponds to PN. And we have 6 centimeters and 6 centimeters, so AB corresponds to MP. And again, correspondence does not necessarily mean congruence. It just means they're in the same place. But however, in this example, we have measurements, so we know that these sides are the same measure. We can also identify a rigid motion that would map one of these triangles onto the other. So I could say a reflection over BC followed by a translation from C to N. Okay, and again, I could pick any other pair of corresponding angles to list in my vector, but I have to start with A, B, or C, and I have to end with the corresponding part in the other triangle, because that's the direction I started with. I'm reflecting the ABC onto and then P. I could have started with M and P and moved that to ABC. But again, I can identify a sequence of rigid motions that maps this triangle to the other, which is the definition of congruence that we used in Unit 3. However, can we conclude whether or not triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PMN without showing that rigid motion or identifying it? Yes. And why is that? The corresponding sides and the corresponding angles are congruent. Therefore, the triangles are congruent. So we only need to show that corresponding angles and sides, or the parts of each triangle, are congruent. Not all of the parts, though, which we'll talk about in the next video.